On the evening of August 8, 1974, television networks interrupted their regular programming to broadcast live from the Oval Office. The 37th President of the United States, Richard Nixon, delivered a message no American had ever heard. He no longer had support in Congress to face the difficulties ahead, and announced he would step down the very next day. The following afternoon, Nixon boarded a helicopter on the White House lawn and flew away. In that moment, he became the first and only U.S. president in history to resign from his office. He didn't leave because he lost an election. The American public hadn't voted him out. He was forced to abandon the presidency by the mechanics of the political system itself. His exit was the result of a sprawling, coordinated attempt to hide a massive abuse of presidential power, a crisis that pushed American democracy to its absolute breaking point. The crisis started June 17, 1972, at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. 5 men were caught breaking into the Democratic National Committee. Police arrested the group with crisp cash and sophisticated wiretaps meant to spy on opponents. Nixon immediately went on the defensive, publicly denying his administration had any connection to the burglary. But 2 reporters from the Washington Post, Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, refused to take the White House at its word. They started digging. Through exhaustive investigation, the press discovered the money funding the burglars came directly from CRP, the Committee to Re-elect the President. This direct link to the re-election campaign shifted the investigation from a local police matter into a national political scandal. Administration officials actively destroyed evidence and paid hush money to burglars to protect the re-election effort. Yet, by trying to bury the truth, they laid the exact groundwork for their own downfall. The definitive proof of their guilt came from inside the Oval Office itself. Nixon installed a secret audio system that recorded every conversation he had inside the White House. When investigators learned about these tapes, Nixon refused to hand them over, claiming executive privilege. On July 24, 1974, the United States Supreme Court ruled unanimously against him. They ordered the President of the United States to surrender the recordings to a special prosecutor. Among those recordings was the infamous smoking gun tape. It captured Nixon, just days after the break-in, explicitly ordering his team to block the FBI's investigation into Watergate. The evidence was irrefutable. Armed with the tapes, the House Judiciary Committee quickly passed 3 articles of impeachment against Nixon, charging him with obstruction of justice, abuse of power, and contempt of Congress. The final blow came from Nixon's own political allies. Senior Republican leaders visited the White House and informed him that his support had vanished. They had the Senate votes to remove him, and they were going to use them. Nixon didn't choose to step down. He was cornered by the justice system and Congress, trapped entirely by his own recorded words. On August 9th, hours after Nixon's departure, Vice President Gerald Ford took the oath of office as the 38th president, ensuring the government kept functioning without a pause. Watergate left long-term marks on the country, starting with the validation of investigative journalism. It proved that a free press could hold the highest office in the land accountable. This graph tracks public trust in the government. Notice this sharp, plunging trend in the 1970s. Blind faith in the presidency evaporated overnight. That trust deficit persisted for decades, with the public remaining skeptical of political institutions long after the scandal faded. Yet, above the political fallout, the scandal established a critical boundary. It proved that no citizen, no matter how powerful, is above the law. Watergate exposed a deeply corrupt administration, but the ultimate legacy of the scandal is that the Constitution worked exactly as intended, stopping an abuse of power in its tracks.